I can't say I have the most particularly high bar when it comes to like companies potentially doing anything smart or like, I'm not surprised when any company does anything stupid. But every once in a while, a company does something that's so unbelievably stupid that even I'm impressed about how stupid they are. And I want to talk about a company called Dbrand today, which just a piece of information came down from a little birdie today and just showed me how unbelievably stupid this company is. And it's like to a hilarious level about how dumb they are. So the thing you need to know right here is that Dbrand themselves were going to sell basically like a skin or basically like a wrapping or just designed for the Steam computer that was coming out. And this was going to be in the shape and in the with the looks of a companion cube from Portal. The funny thing is about this little thing that they were going to make is that not once did they actually like go out and ask Valve about whether or not it was allowed for them to use the companion cube for the designs and like for them to sell. And so as a result, you're not going to believe it. Valve did something about this and made it so that they could no longer sell this skin for the Steam machine. As you can see from their Twitter post today, RIP Companion Cube, and they ended up posting on Reddit basically what happened. And someone just screenshotted it on Twitter, so this is basically how it goes. As you probably noticed, the Steam Machine Companion Cube was eviscerated from our website, YouTube, and other social media platforms last week. The blunt version is that we made the Companion Cube without a license from Valve. Everyone who purchased a Companion Cube will have their refund issued by end of day. Everything else beyond this is just detail. If you want the full story, keep reading. On November 12th, 2025, the day the Steam Machine was announced, we put up a concept render and sign-up page to see if anyone would be interested in a Companion Cube enclosure. It went moderately viral. Over 15,000 people signed up to be notified on the first day. In the month that followed, we built the idea into something real without ever asking Valve if we could. We're going to regret that decision for a very long time. And then they go a little bit into how they like designed it, and how it was made, and how it was created. But then right after they released it, Valve contacted them. The Valve legal team reached out, and they said that it was violating their intellectual property. Valve told them to stop selling this and stop trying to make money off of, Valve's IP without asking. And the whole SparkNotes version of this, and this whole SparkNotes idea of what needs to happen and what was going on with the thought process of Dbrand needs to be seen right here. You guys are fucking stupid, you know that? Yes. I don't know what the company was thinking to even like do this without asking. You would think that their entire brand is based off like doing skins and doing wrapping stuff, and it makes sense for them to, with anyone in a brand who was working at the company, could have potentially thought, hey, we should probably ask Valve about this. Like, is there not a single legal person at all, even like a legal intern at the company that maybe, would go out and be like, hey, maybe we should ask Valve to see if we should be able to use the Companion Cube so we don't do this entire R&D and development process just to get sued by them, which is exactly what happened there. It is actually just one of the like stupidest decisions, I think, one of the stupidest things I think I've seen a company do like ever. What do you mean you didn't ask? What do you mean this was not a single part of consideration about asking Valve? And like then the only time this actually became of an issue to you, at least publicly, was when you sold it, when you started selling it. How did this happen? How are you this stupid? And it doesn't even seem like they do any other like types of collaborations like this where they'd actually go out and ask. Like if you go into the website and just look at like what they call skins for like, I don't know, an iPhone 17. None of this shit is like branded or anything like that. None of this shit is like actually made to look like it's maybe part of a collaboration. So I don't know what made them think about going out to the Steam Machine and deciding to make a Portal collaboration. But maybe that's why like they completely forgot to ask, is because they've never done this before, and it just, I guess, failed to pass any single human being at the company's mind that this might be something that they need to do. But a really funny thing, though, about this company is that they aren't entirely without any sort of controversy. Especially one happened about like 5 years ago at this point, which is kind of a similar situation to what happened to Dbrand with the Companion Cube. And so you would think that this thing happening would make them learn the lesson about asking companies for their permission when they're trying to like work with them or work on their products. But no, they obviously didn't learn. So they have like 3 other like issues that happened that I think need to be pointed out about the type of company that we're dealing with here. First one is PlayStation 5 faceplates. In October 2021, Dbrand released custom matte black PlayStation 5 faceplates called Dark Place. Dbrand's marketing of the product included a public challenge for Sony Interactive Entertainment to sue them, after Sony previously sued another company for manufacturing faceplates for the PS5. Sony later issued a cease and desist letter alleging design infringement. Dbrand complied and temporarily pulled the product. They also posted the original letter on Reddit and remarked, "We elected to submit to the terrorist demands for now." Dbrand later returned their faceplates for sale and named the Dark Plates 2.0, redesigned with an additional ventilation to avoid infringement. Fucking spectacular thought process. Let's look at the other 2 controversies on this other than the Companion Cube. In April 2024, an Indian origin customer named Bhuwan Chitransh complained about a defective MacBook skin on Twitter. Dbrand responded by mocking his surname with the tweet, "Your last name is basically shit rash, be serious." The tweet sparked a widespread backlash as racially insensitive and was viewed a million times. Marcus Brownlee stated that he would no longer work with the brand unless the tweet was deleted, and then they deleted the tweet, issued a public apology the next day, calling it a huge fumble, and offered the guy $10,000 as a goodwill gesture. And then the CEO acknowledged the remark as a severe lapse in judgment and promised future restraint. And then they had another issue with, I guess, kill switch magnet issues in June 2025, so legitimately last year. Dbrand's kill switch case for the Nintendo Switch 2 was found to interfere with the Joy-Con controller connection due to poor tolerances. After initially blaming users, the company apologized publicly, describing their own response as spectacularly terrible and committed to sending free revised units. Is there not like a single PR human being at all in this fucking company or any legal people in any capacity? What the hell is going on? This is like a multi-year issue that they're facing. One, the Sony thing was objectively one of the dumbest things I think I've ever seen a company do. They literally went, hey, I bet you're not going to sue us, got sued, and then called Sony terrorists, made an unbelievably racist remark to a dude, and then called it a huge fumble, and then also blamed the users for something, for an issue of their product that they caused. Like, I don't know what is going on in any of the thought processes of this company, but this is literally the first time I've ever heard of them, and every single thing I've heard about this company is negative. What are they doing? What is going on? What is happening with any sort of thought processes that happen in this entire company? Do they just like let the Twitter interns go for free? Do they let all the viral marketing people just have like no restraint in any capacity? Like, how is there not a single human being in the entire building saying, hey, we should probably not do this? Think about everything that could possibly happen. Like, calling Sony terrorists is probably not a good idea. And also asking Sony to sue, and then them doing it is probably going to be a bad idea for the company. What is happening? What is going on in the brains of these people who work at this company? It's genuinely an interesting thing to see of just how stupid they are. It's impressive at this point. It's just impressive to see how dumb they are. And like, it's also impressive to see that they haven't learned just from this companion cube thing. Like, they've run into IP issues before. Like 5 years ago, you'd think they'd learn. But no, they did it again, went through like the whole development process, and then got sued and like, fuck, how could this possibly happen? It's just impressive at this point. It's kind of more impressive than anything that they're this stupid. They're setting the standard for stupidity. Also just having one of the dumbest like PR communication strategies of all time. That's really all I wanted to talk about for today though, so thank you for watching. Goodbye.